Hello everyone and welcome to Reggie's Corner. So, we are back with the next part of our walkthrough of the campaign of Battlefield 4, and we have now reached story mission number 4, which is Singapore, and we are as per usual doing this on the hard difficulty, and we are going for all the collectibles, and that means in this case 3 dog tags and 3 weapons, and we are trying to finish this on gold medal level, which means 19,000 points, and we will probably do this mission over 2 parts because they are quite lengthy. So if that is something you would like to be a part of, all you have to do is stay put, because now we start.
Intelligence you brought back from the Titan confirms that Pacific Central Command is gone, wiped by Chinese missile attack. This is all Chang's turf now. If there's anything left of our fleet, they're out there blind as bats.
Appreciate the gravity of the situation, Captain. All the more reason to be careful. But putting her in the squad, Irish isn't gonna...
Irish doesn't see the full picture. We're under extreme circumstances. She's going with you.
Understood. Irish is a good guy. I'll keep an eye on him.
Appreciate that, Pac. You got a long way to go, but you're leadership material.
Thank you, Captain. Anything we need to know about the assault on the airfield?
Yeah. Get Wrecker. Pac, Wrecker, I need you to follow me on this. We need to make sure our last missiles are put to good use. Assault the airfield. Eyes on the ground. Signal us when their planes are on the tarmac. We'll light those motherfuckers up and continue west through the strait.
Copy that, Captain. Piece of cake.
Pac. Wrecker, you might not make it. Many of your friends won't. But this is it. This is the shot we've got. Now, the squad that gets to the airfield and lights their flare has 30 seconds to get out before we rain our missiles down.
Copy.
Do not become a friendly fire statistic. Anna.
Let's go, Wrecker.
Let's go, Marines, let's go!
Captain's orders, Irish.
Whoa, where do you think you're going?
I volunteered.
You volunteered, but who approved?
Captain Garrison, take it up with him.
You know about this?
Do you speak Mandarin, Sergeant?
Whether I do or don't, it's none of your concern, young lady.
Look, I'm just trying to help. You'll back me up, right?
In my opinion, bad fucking idea, Wrecker. She's a risk and a liability.
Attention all hands. Stand by for Captain Garrison.
Warriors on the Valkyrie. I know we're tired. All of us have suffered. Lost friends, loved ones. We will ensure it was not in vain. The storm has grounded enemy aircraft, but it won't be for long. We may be the only ship left, but we will not go down without a fight. We will steam west, strike the airfield under storm cover, create a safe passage through the Singapore Strait. Strike with speed and courage. Let this storm carry us home.
Alright, so we are off.
I don't want this weather. Don't get me started, guy. You got the fucking flare gun? Yeah, I got it. Anyone know if the storm is still building?
Who knows? We can settle in half an hour. The missile's more like a tropical depression than a typhoon.
What's a typhoon?
You would call it a hurricane.
Storm or not, we gotta make this plan work. If the slight missile target, a lot of people will suffer. Pick up! Straight ahead! There's a clear spot back beach. Take us in! Jesus! Watch it!
And the first thing you have to do here is just find some cover. And then go for the headshots as per usual. And when you're feeling slightly more secure, just, try to move ahead inch by inch. It's not worth rushing until you know for certain that you are secure. And obviously a sniper rifle at this point would have been awesome, but we don't have one as of yet. And you can usually get pretty good coverage if you go to the right, and you can also get a little bit of a flanking thing going.
Stay together! Clear the landing area!
And they will bring up reinforcements, but same applies. And you could hear a little jingling sound. That's the sound of the very first collectible of the level. So before pushing ahead, make sure that you pick that one up. And it is on the side of this sailing boat. There, pick up collectible. And it's the horizontal rain dog tag. So that's the first one. And when you're feeling slightly secure, move up, either on the very right or through the middle using cover. And you can use the tank as a sort of mobile cover, as long as you're aware of that, like heavy guns and grenades might target the tank, so be very mobile. There we got a little boat. Well, that's easy for you to say when you're in a tank. And as per usual, you have the knife and the gun and the automatic, and yeah. And you also have the possibility to go into infravision, which can be nice, but on this level not so much as on others.
They gotta unfry the good equipment. We're gonna wipe them out. We got the vinyl. See what we're up against.
There's usually a couple of guys up on the bridge, but they can be hard to see. This is the bad thing about the weather physics on this particular one. And also sometimes the AI do stuff like that they just run past you and try to shoot you from behind. It's not really logical, but there you go. And there apparently we have the last guy. And even though we're playing on hard, and as you can see the health flashes up pretty quick, you can take more damage than you think. So it could be worth just spotting some guys and then going for the cover. So when you're pushing ahead to the area after the bridge, there will be a lot of guys coming at you, and there's also a tank or like armored vehicle, and that will be on the right, so try to keep away from that as much as possible. And it might be worth to hang back a little bit to scope some guys before pushing ahead, because they will rush you and try to flank you if possible. You can also use the, on PC at least, Q button to highlight people so that your friends might help out, and it's also easier for you to see where they're actually at. So even if your friends don't end up killing them, you at least know where they are. So that's also good advice. And aside from that, there is a weapons crate here on the right, and you start out with the Scar H and the M412 Rex on this mission, and those weapons aren't my first choice, especially with the weather that is present on this map. I usually pick weapons that you can zoom in with a little bit, so that you don't have to push up and get in the face of the enemy, which could wreck you super quick. So I usually do that, and then I sprint back again, and now I have a weapon that I can actually zoom in with quite a bit, and that makes a difference for sure.
Ready for target.
And when there's no enemies, push up a little bit. That'll usually trigger a new wave.
Clear us a way through.
And when that happens, you can start doing the same stuff again. This is one of the enemies that I usually have problem with because it feels kind of like you're hitting something solid, even though you shouldn't be. If that happens, I'm afraid you just have to push up slightly so that you can get a better angle, or like throw a grenade or something. So we probably have to get a super good angle on here. Yeah. Yeah, so that happened, and that has happened to me at least once or twice before. This particular spot, when you shoot them, it kind of like feels like this rubble, that there's an invisible hitbox there. So I guess DICE messed up on that particular spot. However, having worked past that, we can move up. And if possible, sprint forward a little bit, get some better cover, and do it all over again. We still got a little someone here. See if you can get a good angle. And this is also the place where the second collectible of the level is found. It's up here on the scaffolding, but first make sure that there are no enemies who can snipe you when you go up, because you're very exposed up here for obvious reasons. So, when you make that gap, you have a weapon out here. And there we have the Scar HSV. And it also has a sniper scope, so you can keep that if you want to. I think I will, just for the fun of it. And that is the first weapons collectible on this level. So now we have one dog tag and one weapon. And when you feel comfortable, just keep on pushing up. And here's another weapons crate. And here we also get to play as the tank. And the tank is obviously a super powerful unit, but it is also surprisingly squishy, so you can't just face off against anything. You have to use it wisely, and you can use the infravision by tapping the right mouse button, and that might help sometime. So when you get to this area, your AI buddies will die. I think that's scripted, and there's not much you can do about it, unfortunately. All you can try to do is to keep a little bit back until the tanks that kill them show up. You can use the infravision to see that. That might give you a few shots in early. So that's the first one. There will be several more. And this is obviously a little overkill to shoot at normal infantry with the tank, but if you can, you might as well. And that's the next one. There will be at least 4, maybe 5 armored vehicles on this little area, so it's well worth hanging back a little bit so as not to tangle with too many of them at once, which is basically you begging to die. And there's the last guy, who managed to survive a tank shot. And there usually is a tank coming from the left and then on the right. But this time it feels like he's trying to sneak up on us. We might as well see if we can get him first. Which we could. Sneaky, sneaky. And there will be another one coming from right ahead. And there we go. And when you come around this corner, there's usually one more coming out of that building. So if you do that, they can't shoot you and they have to push up. And when they do, you get a shot on them as well. There we go. So that's a way to take out 3 tanks without putting yourself in too much danger, which you don't want to do, obviously. And that's the other tank that we already demolished. And there's one more in this garage here. And some poor guys. And the tank up ahead is probably there just to scare you a little bit. There's no enemies in it, so it's just there. And here we kind of have to park for a little bit. There will be some old classic foot guys. They do have some RPGs and stuff like that, so try and take those guys out first if possible.
Wait, hang on. All right, Regroup, we're ready.
And
Wrecker? Should be in a control room or something.
Yeah.
so we are trying to
Get out of here.
take these anti-tank,
By the wall.
Wrecker?
I'm not really sure what they're called, but they're anti-tank boulders, we could call it for short. Take them down so that we can push on forward. And why am I going up on the roof? Yes, well, there is another collectible up here on the roof. It's a weapon. And it's a little bit tricky to find. It's not that not something you will run into just by, you know, going the usual way. Also, there might be a few guys coming up on this area when you're up here, so be wary of that. And you have to make your way around the corner, then walk along this ledge, and there's a tiny little bit of area which you can walk past there as well. And you can already see the weapon out there on the ledge, so do that more. And now we have the chance to pick this gun up. You usually give myself sort of a little angle so that when I drop the weapon I won't toss it over the side, which could happen. So we have the M24OB, and I usually don't take it with me. It's kind of cumbersome and it takes up a little bit too much of the screen, so I usually pick it up and then toss it down again. And when we make our way back here, as I said, quite often there are some guys, if you're unlucky. But we were lucky this time, which is nice because this is a very bad spot to get caught at. So we now have 2 of the weapons and 1 of the dog tags. And here we have a gadget deposit. Seeing as we are working with a lot of enemy tanks, it's good to pick up one of these that you can actually use against well, armored vehicles. So I usually pick these 2 so that we have everything that we need. And resupply if you have to, and when you're satisfied you can push the button. And now we can see that those anti-tank boulders within brackets are now down. And seeing as there's a lot of action coming up, this is a good part to end off the first video of the mission Singapore. We will pick right back up in part 2. So that was the end of part 1 of the story mission Singapore, and as you can see on the status screen to the right, as of now we have 1 out of 3 dog tags and 2 out of 3 weapons, and we have almost the bronze level status for the mission, but there is still ways to go, so gold status is still possible. I hope that you fine viewers out there have enjoyed this as much as I have, and that I will see you again in part 2. Until then, however, have the greatest of times, and as per usual, game your little souls away. Bye for now.